Palo Alto studio connecting Silicon Valley and Wall Street.
I'm John Furrier, coaching the team here with Dave Vellante, my co-host.
Welcome back to the CUBE studio here at the New York Stock Exchange. I'm Gemma Allen with NYSE Wired, and this is Mixture of Experts. And joining me today is a man who's going to talk all things AI and the future of fintech. Julio Marti nez, CEO and co-founder of Abacum. Welcome, Julio.
Gemma, thanks so much for having me.
Delighted to have you. And we're going to get into why you're on the show this week, because you're part of a celebration that's happening here on Thursday. But before we get there, tell me a little bit about Abacum. What is it exactly that you guys do?
Yeah, Abacum is the leading AI native financial planning and analysis platform. So that basically means that we support finance teams in having clean data and normalized data so they can extract the most value out of AI. We also enable finance team with enhanced reporting, forecasting, budgeting, scenarios so that they can drive business outcomes.
Explain life before and after Abacum. You're a CFO, you're doing a lot of stuff on spreadsheets, there's a lot of data, you have the data, you just probably don't know what to do with it a lot of the time, right? That's been a long-term challenge. What exactly does Abacum change? Does it like connect these systems to each other? Does it create visualization? Try and bring it to life a bit.
Absolutely. So the before is usually disconnected systems, and then finance teams are struggling to get all this data together that is clean. Then they spend a lot of time in manual work, just cleaning data, and then digging out the insights that are going to make them relevant to the business. So oftentimes you've heard about finance as the scorekeeper, the bookkeeper, the back office function, always late with a report nobody really cares about. It's only financial information. With Abacum, we bring all these dispersed systems into a single source of truth, right? So you have all the accounting data, but also all the operational KPIs that matter to the business, always clean in real time for finance to analyze. And with that, we enable them to automate the reporting that is relevant to the board of directors, the management team, the different stakeholders like sales or marketing, so they can drive business outcomes. They can provide the information that matters when it matters, right? Different scenarios. Oh, what's going to happen with interest rates? What's going to happen with international trade? Incorporating those scenarios into decision making. So the post is clean data, insights when it matters, and definitely finance in the driver's seat of the business.
So are you competing predominantly with Excel and legacy thinking and behavior patterns that have been built over decades? Or are you consisting with other SaaS players or competing with other SaaS players? Who's the core competitor for this? Who are you trying to take out?
Yeah, so think of Adaptive Insights, now acquired by Workday. Think of some other legacy players such as Anaplan or Planful, right? Very relevant SaaS businesses that were most of them founded 25 years ago, right? So they are actually pre-cloud, pre-smartphones, and definitely pre-AI, right? We've emerged as the very clear leader of the AI native solutions to bring the finance team to the AI world.
So you mentioned that there is an expectation now, a fast-growing expectation, especially in the world of tokenomics and all of this financial mania that's happening around us and in tech, that CFOs and financial teams become more strategic operators, right?
Yeah.
We're seeing that happening across the business. To become a strategic operator, there are, a certain level of insight, data, but also, I guess, repeatability and decision-making velocity needed.
Yeah.
Right? That probably wasn't needed maybe 5 years ago.
Absolutely.
How are things shifting kind of week to week, month to month in this space? Like, how are you building a system and a product, not just for next month, but for 2 years from now, at a time where everything feels somewhat like chaotic?
Yeah. So we are going through a tectonic shift movement, right? Like everything feels that is changing very fast. Definitely AI has been a tailwind for us. Right? Before us, maybe some of the legacy players still had a halo effect on their brand because they had been in the market for longer. Today, CFOs, VP Finance, VPs of FP&A are really looking to incorporate and embrace like true AI technology into their workflows, right? So this has really catapulted us. To answer your questions, like, we continue hiring engineers and product managers and designers left and right. We've not only more than tripled productivity by engineer, and that continues compounding. So, but we continue enhancing that team. We heavily invest in R&D when other players fall stall, right? Like they stopped investing in the product a long time ago, and they're trying to milk the cow. So this is a big contrast. We continue shipping product every single day, actually. So a data point for me is that this quarter, our average is 21 PRs every day,
Wow.
every single day. So this is the level of innovation that we are bringing to the market. At a point in time, with, to your point, expectations on CFOs are through the roof. Like,
For sure.
think of it, like everybody's looking at them, they are on the spotlight, and they are being looked at as how are you incorporating AI to drive performance, to drive productivity, to enhance efficiency in the business, and they need to deliver answers now.
I think fintech in general has been a fast adopter of AI, right? We've seen a lot of companies make a lot of progress in a very short space of time in the space. There's this counter argument that AI is making everyone Harry Potter. You know, we're all suddenly wizards and we can do all sorts of stuff for ourselves, vibe coding solutions, etc., etc. When it comes to the world of FP&A, though, which is so incredibly clinical by design and by necessity, what are your thoughts when people say, well, 5 years from now, ChatGPT or Claude or whatever will be vibe coding all this for CFOs? You know, what do you respond to that with?
Yeah, I love this provocation, right? And I think that, hey, spreadsheets and Claude or spreadsheets and any given LLM, I think they have a place in the market, right? There are a lot of SMBs that they probably don't need FP&A software because their business complexity is not very high. And hey, a smarter spreadsheet, so on a spreadsheet with an LLM, you know, it's good for them. Now, at some point in time, that business complexity increases to a point where that solution no longer holds, right? So the point of a spreadsheet plus an LLM, you know, starts to break at some point in time, and I'll explain where. Also, vibe coding a solution. Look, the provocation I always bring back to that point is, hey, we are extremely focused on building the best financial planning and analysis platform for the market. If on top of that, now I need to build a CRM, an HIRS, and a hiring software, an ERP for accounting, and I need to, you know, I look at my list of vendors. Probably we have 100 vendors that we buy software from. Like, what do I need to hire now? You know, 100 more engineers to build all of those solutions, or will I rely on a vendor that has made their obsession to build the best solution for me, right? So I think that, you know, we are living on the moment where there is a little bit too much hype in this apocalypse. I think there is a market for all of us, particularly on FP&A. Like, FP&A is not only about the data, right? Like, you need to have a good number of integrations. You need to clean the data with AI. You want to build the model and the business logic. You need collaborative workflows with a human in the loop for approvals. You need governance and security and scalability in data. And then on top of that, that gives you the foundation and the framework to 10x your outcomes with AI. AI on top of a weak foundation doesn't really bring you anywhere.
No. Talk about the technology itself. Go under the hood for a second.
Yeah.
How proprietary is this? How much of it is built on another frontier model? And how do you, and any fintech founder, Julio, I think about this a lot, manage your own tokenomics and your own FP&A when things are, again, in this AI economy, seems to be moving so quickly and the costs seem to be spiraling in only one direction?
Yeah, so the cost is spiraling for us and for everybody. So we'll need to learn how to address that. But if we look under the hood, look, being AI native is very real. There are a lot of players that are sprinkling AI on top of rigid architectures that were built pre-cloud, actually. What does that mean? In our case, for instance, we leverage AI from the data ingestion throughout the data cleaning. So AI and actually machine learning is used to clean the data and normalize the data. Actually, legacy players and many players out there use old relational databases, relational schemas, OLAP cubes to hold their data. that is not efficient at all for AI, right? Being AI native in our case is having, for instance, knowledge graphs, knowledge schemas
Yeah.
that allow AI to, that are optimized for AI to read, and it's machine readable, as we call it, right? From the beginning. So you are building your architecture from the ground up, knowing that it needs to be massively consumed by LLMs, and not only LLMs. And now to your point on tokens, we make the consumption of LLMs very efficient, because honestly, like, the latest LLM might be an overkill for certain use cases. Certain use cases are going to deliver the same result with traditional ML or with a very cheap LLM, right? And then we channel those use cases through those cheaper options. So, the consumption is, more efficient. But then some other use cases might require the latest Opus 4.8. Right? But then we orchestrate the LLMs and the technology so that it becomes very efficient for our customers, and they don't need to be, all the time at the cutting edge testing the latest one and, how to optimize for token consumption.
That's so interesting, I guess, because there is so many substrates of this, right? When you take these workflows apart, and you don't necessarily need a Ferrari to replace a Toyota in certain elements of that stack, right? So it's so true. So Julio, you're here this week because Females in Finance Collective is having its 3-year celebration here at the NYSE on Thursday. And I know you're a key partner of theirs.
Yeah.
Talk me through, though, I guess, two sides of this, the relationship with FIF, but also your own journey, because this company is 5 years old.
Yes.
2021.
Yeah.
Interesting time, right? ChatGPT, and also a massive spike in interest rates.
Yeah.
And in some respects, you had great foresight in creating a fintech company targeting CFOs.
Yeah.
But what has the journey been like for you in terms of building community here in New York? And talk a little bit about, I guess, FIF and how you also bring a product like this to market as a Spanish man moving to New York.
Yeah, absolutely. Gemma, thank you so much for this question. First, we are super proud partners of FIF, right? I think the work that FIF and Megan are doing in the community is so formidable. I think, hey, the best community out there. And also, as a proud father of 2 daughters, we definitely want to see that momentum of women, taking the top place in finance. So really very proud sponsors and partners in the community, and we'll do our best always to support those efforts. My personal journey, I'm a finance professional that moved into technology. So I spent close to 17 years in investment banking in New York, Sao Paulo, Zurich, London, different geographies. I was given an awesome opportunity to start building products. So I became a product guy for 4 years, and then at some point I connected the dots. Hey, the problem space I understand the best is FP&A, corporate finance, but I know how to build technology now, and I had been exposed to some of the legacy systems during my career. I used some of those legacy systems, and I arrived to the conclusion, hey, we can generate a 20x experience. So I decided to leave everything and launch the business in the middle of COVID, in the middle of interest rates spiking, which didn't make it any easy, to be very honest.
It made your pitch easier, though, right? Because I think a lot of CFOs were like, crap, I really need to be ahead on this. I need these numbers to be as accurate as they can be, right?
Totally. You got me there. So definitely at a point in time where, they were craving for scenarios and some more technology to grow efficiently. And then, from the get-go, we went through Y Combinator. We've raised over 100 million. So really winning in the market. We are also very efficient. So we follow our own pitch. So we are a company that really praises itself for having the strongest efficiency metrics in the sector and the strongest customer retention in the sector. So
Talk about the fundamentals of Y Combinator. Like, if you were to think life before and after, what do you think the synthesis is? Like, what did it really give you?
Yeah. First, brand recognition. Right? We launched the business in the US, obviously a huge market, but that was before some of our excellent fans backed us. So we were basically unknown, and we were targeting, small enterprises from the get-go. So, they look at you like, can I really trust you with a mission-critical software? So Y Combinator really offered us that brand recognition. Okay, maybe, it made those conversations a bit easier. Obviously, the product had to be there.
Of legitimacy, right? For
yes.
sure. Yeah.
That was the key component. And I also want to mention some of those partners are so good. Like, they have been empires. Like, they have built formidable companies, and then working with some of those partners that are known to be very hard, and then they hit you hard in those office hours. But we learned so much. about company building and growing fast. And it was an awesome experience.
Wow. Okay, so Julio, what's ahead? Do you think you guys have raised a Series B? Am I correct?
Yes.
Where do you go from here? What does the next 12 months look like for you and the team?
Yeah, so we'll continue our journey of growing very fast. We are today the fastest growing financial planning and analysis platform in the market. We continue moving, and gaining more business in the enterprise. We'll be raising more capital as it looks like. And there is a lot of excitement in the market about us, about the asset, and we feel very privileged. We are growing the team. We have customers in more than 40 countries. We did our company offsite last week, and I came to realize, wow, we have teammates from 28 nationalities.
Wow.
So that got me very excited. We take proud. We are proud of being multicultural, and we'll continue going in that direction. In terms of product roadmap, more AI for our customers. It's the most exciting time to be building technology I've ever been. So, and I've been, I'm on the senior side of many founders I know, and I have to say that it's never been more exciting.
Well, I hope, like many of the Spaniards I know, it also involves a couple of weeks of downtime in Spain in August.
Yes.
With your family.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for joining us on theCUBE.
Yeah. Gemma, thank you so much for having me.
I'm Gemma Allen, coming to you from the CUBE studio at the NYSE. This is Mixture of Experts, one of our programs with NYSE Wired. Thanks for watching.